Saturday, which finished 36-30 to Lancashire, I think, if I remember rightly. And the women's Origin game was on the Sunday, and Yorkshire came out on top in that one, which was 14 points to 8.
Yeah, went quite close game. Went right down to the final kick of the match. Apparently, that one. So, did you catch any of that as you were coming in?
That's one game I didn't see. I was too busy enjoying the delights of St Anne's on the Sea. But yeah, it was yeah, obviously a close match.
Yeah, available on the Our League app as well. In the NRL, it finished Broncos 15, Roosters 10, and Tom Andrews got on touch with this one, of course.
Yeah, it was on telly, so he got in touch. What a story for Seguiaro to score the winner on his comeback. Don't think Ryan Hall seemed too out of place for his first hit out in the big league, especially coming off nasty knee surgery.
Yeah, I watched a bit of this on Friday morning as I was doing some work, and he didn't look out of place at all and looked very much at home in that setup. So I think he'll definitely stand a chance of keeping his place the next couple of weeks.
Great.
It also finished Canberra 12, South Sydney 16.
And Tom says another enjoyable game. Might have to get into this NRL lark. Yeah, it's really good. Don't know if it's because of you focus on them, but the English guys in this team really stand out, especially Hodgie with his head warmer on. Thought Oz was meant to be warm. Yeah, but Canberra's not. Canberra's cold.
Yeah, Canberra can, and it's getting to that stage of the year where it is Canberra in Canberra, where it is
Canberra in
just
Canberra is a thing, and it's yeah. This is why all the Brits are going there because at least for 6 months of the year it feels a bit like home. But yeah,
it's home and you get a proper summer. I mean, what else would you want?
yeah.
Anyway, and it also finished another two games. This was actually on Thursday. Melbourne 24, West Tigers 22, and Tom
Yeah,
got in
so we're
touch with
doing
this one.
yeah, we're doing it in the wrong way around. But Tom
Yeah,
says, first game I've watched in NRL for a while. Had to watch this one back as I've missed it live. Very enjoyable from start to finish. Benji Marshall still showing he has world class skills, and an ex FC player missing the most important tackle of the game. Was that Mahe Fanua, I guess,
yeah,
missing? Yeah, with the rug attached to the back of his head. Okay, last four results from the NRL. It were finished: Gold Coast 16, Bulldogs 22, Cowboys 17, Eels 10, St George 12, Newcastle 45, and Cronulla 14, Manly 24.
yeah. And just one other result to bring you, and it was the World Cup qualifier, or I think they were calling it its official title. It's European Qualification Group C elimination playoff match or something like that. The guy on the channel had good fun with that one. A few
I
times,
bet.
as he did with a lot of the names. To be fair, some of the Greek names in particular were very fun for Andrew. So I enjoyed that one. It's definitely one where you enjoy when you're not doing it. You think
I
I'm
was going
glad
to
I'm
say
not
that,
doing this one.
it seems a bit mean that, to be honest.
Yeah, well, I once did an England football an England amateur football game against the Czech Republic under 21s, and I had lessons in how to speak, how to do the vowels and everything from someone at the Czech FA, and I still absolutely butchered it. So I do have every sympathy with him there. But it finished, yeah, Norway 26, Greece 56,
Yep,
and we did
and
have a fan review from two seats down from me.
yep. So Dave, Dr. Hideous says Greece took an early lead, winning the best national anthem competition. The first half was all Greece, 32 to nil kicking. Both teams had moments of good play, but there were far too many errors from both sides, and the game never really flowed. During the half-time break, Greece obviously spent their time philosophizing, while the Norwegians chewed on their shields, and Norway won the much more even second half by 2 points.
Yeah, it was a very much a game of two halves. The first half, I was thinking that this was going to be one of the worst games I'd watched in a long time, and I'd made completely the wrong choice and should have gone somewhere else. It was like a Masters game. It was that stop-start. I don't know
Right.
if it was so much the referee or the teams making errors, but it was really painful viewing. And Greece's main plan in the first half was just to give it to the player from London Scholars, Tuli Tau, and just get him to go up the middle with it and bash through, and then drop it off to the hooker who was going through Marmados, who is in the South Sydney setup.
All
He's
right.
only about 20 or so. Funny enough, he said quite telling comment in one of the match reports that it was his first time he'd made a trip to Europe. He'd never been before.
Right. Blimey.
Quite fun for a guy representing Greece. But there we go. Norway did come back into the game, certainly later in the second half. They seemed to have Jake Friend's sort of fatter brother at 9, and he had that sort of beach blonde hair, a bit square, sort of in the shoulders, but he made quite a few errors early on, and I thought, oh, this is going to get painful. But there's some really nice tries scored by the Greeks. Certainly their second try, they made a really good overlap, and the fullback injected himself into the line to come through. And there's some good breaks, and from both sides really. And then Norwegians really rallied in that second half. They had a really good team talk. They'd actually stayed out on the pitch rather than going into the dressing room. They stayed out and had a good talking to while they were chewing on their shields. And the fullback and the winger particularly, they eased themselves into the game in that second half and showed they had some real pace. Quite good invention as well, to quite a decent step on the, I think it was the right winger. He was really coming in well, and so good. I do wonder how Greece are going to go against Scotland, even though it will be Scotland in the qualification group, because the winner of this, Greece, go through to games against Scotland and Russia. So Greece against Russia, I think that might even be in Russia. So that'll be interesting. But I think the Scotland game may well be in Greece. So if they're allowed to play it, subject to everything that's going on, they may be able to play it in Athens.
Wow.
But fantastic. It was a really good crowd, really good atmosphere, and great to see so many of the sort of communities of Greeks and Norwegians coming in. David brought along a real-life Norwegian who was enjoying his first game, and he enjoyed it so much he stayed for his second game, which is good.
Good for him, yeah.
So we were talking it's quite interesting when you have someone like that who hasn't watched the game before, pointing out the ridiculousness of some things. Like, he didn't understand why he got the ball back from a penalty, so you had to explain that one, and then didn't understand what a goal line dropout was, which was fair enough, and then we had to explain a 40-20 in the second game as well. Just those little quirks that you're so used to, you don't really think about. And yeah, it was a good day all round, and it was nice to catch up with Dave and also Bruiser, Sean Orton, and his crowd of people. And he even managed to bag himself some Greek stash. I was quite jealous of that. He was in a Greek polo shirt, and he'd got himself a playing shirt that he'd won from the squad as well, but it was a little bit small. It was obviously just the jersey they had left that nobody fitted into.
It was a snug fit, but maybe you can slim into it. But yeah, no, it sounds like a great event, and that definitely rounds off a varied week of fixtures. Let's move on now to predictions for the Magic Weekend.
Okay, so it is time to do our predictions for round 16. That's the Magic Weekend over at Anfield. So all these games being played in the home of the, possibly by then. Oh no, it's not that. That's the week after, isn't it? Ignore me.
Yeah. The Champions League finalists.
But it's actually the week after.
Yeah.
I'm terrible at remembering what's what. Anyway, so first game, 2:00 on the Saturday. It is the Wakefield Trinity Wildcats against the Catalan Dragons, 2:00 on the Saturday. I'm saying Catalan for this one. I think that they'll use the positive experience of playing in a big stadium, and they'll just roll on through to next week. What do you say for this one?
I'm going for Wakefield. They'll be hurting Catalan. This isn't a big game. This isn't in the cup. Might be moderately quiet at first game up on Saturday. I'm going to go for Wakefield.
Fair enough. 4:30 on the Saturday. The next game, it's Hull FC against Huddersfield. So I'm going to back the black and whites, much as it hurts me for this one. I think they'll use a bit of momentum, and they always tend to do fairly well at Magic, which I know to my cost. But so I think they'll manage to overcome the Cowbellers for this one.
Yeah, they tend to do fairly well when they're playing your lot. When they played St Helens, they got absolutely ripped apart, more ripped than their Hulk shirts looked. I'm I'm going to say Huddersfield continue their good run of form and Huddersfield win this one.
Yep, so then Saturday, 7 o'clock, the main event for Saturday is going to be Wigan against Warrington.
Again,
for the 400th time. Wearing their special Milwaukee shirts to celebrate a game where they went over and played in Milwaukee. And I can only see this going the way of Warrington. What do you say?
Yeah, I think Warrington will be angry after losing out last week. So yeah, unfortunately, Warrington to pick this one up.
Moving into Sunday, and it's an interesting one. Salford against Hull KR, 1 o'clock on the Sunday. I'm struggling with this one. I know what my heart says. I know what my head says. But I think I'm gonna stay with my heart and stay with Hull KR. I think we've got to get a win from somewhere at some point. Surely, law of averages.
You think?
Just hope for more Joel Tompkins tries.
Yeah, I don't think you'll get another one like that. For me, Salford, very unlucky last week. So yeah, Salford to win this one for me.
Yeah, moving on. 3:30, the relegation decider, Leeds against London. As I said earlier, I trailed this one a bit early because this is the equivalent of this is a 4-pointer in terms of the swing, really up for grabs. But I see that young London side with their attack, their kind of never say die attitude. They just go for it and see what happens. Sometimes they'll lose by 50. The next week they'll put 50 on themselves. And I think against Leeds and their shattered confidence, all the pressure that will be on them, both internal and external, I think London will do it. I think Danny Ward will come good.
Yeah, I can't disagree with you. Leeds, I don't see where they get any win. They even look likely at the moment. London riding on a bit of confidence. London for me on this one.
Yeah, and finally to the final game, 6 o'clock on the Sunday, St Helens against Castleford. I'm going to say Saints for this one. I just think that they've got too much all round, and I think there's too many good performers in that side.
Yeah, I've said this before. I'll say it again. Pick Saints until further notice. St Helens to win this one.
Yep. So that rounds out the magic weekend for us. And looking at the championship, I went for 2 games of the week this week. I couldn't pick between them. Starting off 7:45 on Friday at Sheffield. It's Sheffield against Toronto. I think it's only going to be Toronto for this one, but I think it should be a decent contest with Sheffield.
Yeah, they when they finally got into game, obviously Toronto are well used to playing on an artificial surface. They'll be well used to this one, and Toronto to win it at Cantor, I would imagine.
Yeah, and the joint game of the week I said was Featherstone against Bradford at 3 o'clock on Sunday.
Yeah, the Dane Chisholm derby. I think I don't know. I hope we can win this one, but we'll see. I'll take my boys, but you never know.
I think you'll have enough to do it, but he'll, if Chisholm's back on form he was last week, he will be motivated to prove everybody wrong. Then I think it could be a powerful motivation, and you could well see some very good performance out of him.
Yeah, that's my fear too.
Into League One, our game of the week is actually part of a double header again. So it's double header with the Army women against Wigan Warriors women in the Challenge Cup. That's coming up at 5:30. But before that one kicks off, it's Coventry Bears against North Wales Crusaders at the Little Butt or the Wide Butt or whatever we're calling it, the Broad Butt.
The Wide Butt, yes, the Wide Butt.
3 o'clock on Sunday. Then I'll be up in the conning tower, looking over the field. Hopefully, have a slightly better PA system than I had last time. We'll manage to rig it up in a different way so the people underneath me can hear me, because that's the problem we had last time. People out on the pitch and over the far side could hear, but if you were directly underneath me, you had no chance. and
Yeah.
because of the volume, there was no chance of me being able to hear for
All
about
right.
an hour
But
and a
yeah,
half.
no, it's